John Heyman. Breaking news, Sonny Gray traded to the Red Sox.
Sonny Gray!
Who was,
I like Sonny Gray.
I would say, last really good in 2023 when he was an All-Star. He was pretty good in 2024. Last year, I would say he was fine. 180 innings, 4.28 ERA, 14-8 for the Cardinals. That's actually probably better than fine.
He's a little bit of an older dude. He's 36 years old. He just turned 36 this month. But yeah, you mentioned three-time All-Star, runner-up in the Cy Young in 2023. Last year with St. Louis, 32 starts, 4.28 ERA, more strikeouts than innings, which for his career, he has more strikeouts than innings.
Back-to-back 200 strikeout seasons.
Yeah, so I like it.
He led the league in strikeout-to-walk ratio last year, 5.29. So he's not walking anybody, which I would say is also a good sign.
Which Chaim Bloom prospects do you want back from here?
Okay, well, this would be my complaint. I don't even care what they gave up. This would be my complaint. And if we can get maybe some info on the contract, I don't know what that is.
I'll get you that information.
I thought they didn't want a 3 through 10 starter. And so are you telling me now Sonny Gray is your number 2 and this is the Joe Ryan? Like, is that where he's sliding into the rotation? Or
he makes $35 million
wow,
next year, and then there's a $30 million team option for 27.
Okay.
Well, that would be the Giolito replacement.
Well, no, but I'm saying, when listening to our guy Breslow, my guy Breslow, earlier this offseason, he said we aren't going to replace guys like that. We want a number 2 to pitch with Crochet. Or a front end of the rotation guy. We don't need 3 through 10, which is what Giolito was.
But I think he's kind of.
We need a 2. Is this guy that?
So he's kind of teetering on that. I think if you're talking about,
I was hoping for better than that.
Well, I was hoping for Tarek Skubal, for God's sake. So obviously I was hoping for better, and then I was looking at Joe Ryan like everybody else. But then remember that other list of names that came out, like Sandy Alcantara, Dylan Cease, who's a free agent.
Is he better than some of those names? Maybe.
I'd rather have
Cease. I would rather have Cease for sure.
All right, what about
maybe not Alcantara? Maybe I might rather this than Alcantara.
Gore?
I might rather this than Mackenzie Gore.
Yeah.
This feels like more of a lock.
Yeah,
this is more a guy you can count on, and you know what you're going to get. The Mackenzie Gore, who is upside, but he might not reach it.
So could your rotation be Garrett Crochet, Brian Bayo, Sonny Gray, Connolly Early?
Yeah, so you're slotting in Gray after Bayo.
I would probably right now.
Yeah, so then that answers the question.
Yeah.
Never mind, you owe him all this money. So, like, what does that do? And this is not how John Henry should approach it. Maybe they're going to spend money like crazy, and Sonny Gray is the first sign of it. And next thing you know, they're also signing Bregman, and they're also signing Pete Alonso. I would say this much money to a guy who might not be a number 2 starter when you know they're going to be on like a John Henry fixed budget, if you will. I don't know that that's the best use of your resources. I don't know that. I'm not telling you he's a bad pitcher, but is this going to preempt them from doing other things? I personally had higher hopes in the rotation, never mind with the rest of the money you're going to spend.
And that's why I feel like if Nick ends up being right and he is your Lucas Giolito replacement, and that means you're still adding to the rotation, right? Because even if Giolito returned, you're like, all right, that's a good rotation, but you add somebody else. And now you have Garrett Crochet, other pitcher, whoever that might end up being, Bayo, Giolito, and pick between Early and Tolley. Maybe whoever wins out of camp, one of those guys is in the rotation, one of those guys isn't. So if that's the case for Sonny Gray, now the only, I guess, pushback on that would be it's a lot of money that they might be thinking even higher than that. Like, he's not really a 4 or a 5 if you're paying him $35 million.
Yeah.
But it's short term. It's basically it's a 1-year deal.
No, which is what Henry wants. I mean,
if you're going to sign Dylan Cease or Framber Valdez, you're going to
locking
pay
him
him
5 or 6 years. Yeah, and that takes you past what would be like a potential lockout deadline.
No, so this is one where we have to eventually see what the totality of the Red Sox offseason is. So last year we overreacted. Their first move was Aroldis Chapman, and we were like, "That's your first move?" Guy ended up being nasty, and they made a bunch of other moves that were really good. But it was just sort of like that kind of took everybody by surprise. So if Sonny Gray is the only improvement to the rotation, then yeah, I probably won't love that. But he's a good pitcher. I think he'll have a good year next year.
Carabas, ready? And we got a text that St. Louis is eating some of the money. That wouldn't surprise me. I have not seen that, but maybe I've missed it.
Yeah, that is a ton of money.
Cotillo 1 minute ago says it's a massive commitment here for Gray unless the Cardinals are paying.
Okay, so let's see if they're going to eat some of the money. If they do, that changes it. Carabas on Twitter, odd Sonny Gray trade. On the one hand, you need a guy who can give you innings. He can do that. On the other, Breslow said the Red Sox are targeting a number 2 starter. Gray is not that, and he's also quite expensive, and I'd rather spend that elsewhere. I mean, I would tell you I agree with him 100%.
Yeah, but
it's not a bad player that you're getting. And if he's a piece of a massive offseason, great. If Sonny Gray's your number 3, you're in tremendous shape.
But hasn't he been a number 2 starter for most of his career?
Probably. But
I mean, so last year, 32 starts.
But we were talking about a guy like Joe Nathan, or we were talking about
Joe Ryan.
I
You
keep doing that. I'm
desperately
sorry.
want Joe Nathan.
I do like Joe Nathan.
Yeah.
Joe Ryan.
Yeah.
And I also think how much they're paying him really matters here, Keefe. It shouldn't. John Henry shouldn't care about the salary.
Yeah, no, this prevents you from getting somebody else.
This is what I'm saying. Like, if John Henry's going to be on a budget and you're spending $35 million on this guy who's maybe a 2?
Spin it positive and say that. Now, I don't even believe what I'm about to say. But you're like, well, if you're going to spend $35 million on Joe Ryan or on Sonny Gray, well, maybe you're mean business because that can't be your big splash.
I just said, if that's what they end up doing, if this is the first step in a massive commitment to spending again, and John Henry and the Red Sox are back, which I also don't believe, if that's the case, then we'll turn around and say that's the case. Like, wow, look at all they got Alonso, they brought back Bregman, they added Sonny Gray, they're spending like crazy. That's awesome. We'll give them credit for that. But now you're asking me what I think they're doing. I think they're going to spend this money on this pitcher and probably one more bat, Bregman or Alonso, and then that's going to be their offseason, and that to me is not going to be good enough.
Noted tough guy Ken Rosenthal tweets, sources confirm Sonny Gray traded from Cardinals to Red Sox, contract being reworked to a 1-year plus mutual option. 2026 salary will be $31 million.
Okay, so it's less than 35.
$31 million, mutual option buyout at $10 million. So Gray essentially getting $41 million for 1 year.
I mean, look, I genuinely do not care about the contract if this isn't going to prevent Henry from spending more. But if this is the big spend, I don't love it.
Now, the Cardinals could. There's no saying that the Cardinals aren't going to pay some of that if you care about that. So like they might take away some of that, so you're not paying $41 million for Sonny Gray.
Sonny Gray, by the way, 6 career postseason starts, 1-3, 3.26 ERA.
Not bad.
That's not bad. Now, he started 2 games in 2013, 2 games in 2017, and 2 games in 2023.
He's pitched for a bunch of teams, and he's been pretty good with almost everybody. He wasn't that good with the Yankees when he went there, but he was good in Oakland. He had a good year in Cincinnati. He had a good year a couple years ago in Minnesota. And then he was fine. I would say above average with St. Louis.
Yeah. Okay. Well, your thoughts on it, 617-779-7937.